gets a hold of you, and we'll go hop them on. Hey, how's it going, everybody? You know what? I'm the crusty old crow,
And I am down south 7-7,
and we are still,
the backyard battlefield.
and it's just the two of us tonight. Why is that? Well, we had to give one the night off. Aaron the Toy Enhancer has officially signed all the forms requesting a night off from the show, last minute leave request, and we had no choice but to approve that form. So that's where we're going with it. So it's a tandem, right? Right, D.
Yep, it is going to be us, and that is fine. We can kick it back and forth, but we had to approve that leave for Aaron, so he got it. He's hunting is what he's
Yes,
doing right now. So we
yes.
had to put that stamp on it and be like, all right, man, we'll be back in 2 weeks. You know the routine, so.
Yeah, brother. And it's the same thing every now and then. It could come up that I need to take a night off. Do I expect Aaron and Down South 77 to not air anything that night? No, right? And if DS needs a night off, he gets the night off. But you got to do the paperwork. It's a lot of paperwork.
It forms in triplicate. The whole thing, it's a mess. That's why I don't try not to do it that often.
Oh, yeah. And I read that. I read pen the shit out of that. Like, I don't even approve it on the first go.
Yeah,
But hey,
I got to submit changes.
yeah, we got some guys in the chat that were waiting for us to join them. Sorry, we were a little late, but Trip C, and then we got Shane over at Same Time Toys, and Bobby Wald, and he brings up a good point. Guys,
Yep.
feel free to chime in tonight. Is that hurricane affecting you? Did it affect you? Will it affect you? I'm Canadian. All I know is you're having windy days out there, right? We got Mendoza.
Yep.
And Darren, you're down in Tennessee. Like, what are you seeing out of all of that down in that part of the states? Like,
Not a thing here from this one. The last one went straight up toward us and then kind of the east of me. This one is all south and staying in the Gulf. I think all we're supposed to get out of it is a little bit of wind up here and that not even any rain this time. But we've definitely got some friends that are right in the way. Uh, so I've got to have a friend that is in Jacksonville and talk to them. They said just pouring down rain all day today. And that's north of actually where it's going to come through on the Atlantic side. So hope everybody is batting down the hatches and takes caution.
yeah, for sure. And if you're the type of person that does the whole thoughts and prayers thing, you know where to direct those tonight. And I'll leave that at that, guys. Before I move on and finish, I left off of Max Million Studios. Want to say hi to him tonight. I wanted to tell you guys, don't think that it's just me and D tonight. Okay, you saw I changed the promo poster at the last second. We do have a pitch hitter in tonight. We do have a surprise for you tonight. This is like Walking Dead, and somebody's gonna get it tonight because Negan's got the bat. Well, it's gonna be one of those. Like, who is it? You're gonna find out, right?
Yeah, I was gonna mention that. Clearly, the thumbnail was done before we realized that Aaron wasn't gonna be able to make it. So I didn't even know you made another one.
No. I talked to him. He said no. I talked to the possibilities of our mystery guest tonight, and I made the thumbnail as I was talking. So it was a pretty quick hand over there.
I'm looking at it now. I clearly, when you sent me the original thumbnail when I posted it on Instagram, it was right. Like not long after that we realized that it was going to be the two of us. So like, oh well, we'll just tell people when they get here.
Yeah. And what are we going to be talking about tonight, guys? It's you see it behind Down South 77 there. It's and you see it behind myself. We're talking shelves. We're talking that toy cannon there. DS, what do you say about it?
Head cannon.
Head cannon, right? So
Yeah.
what's driving you when you set up that shelf? Is it a permanent shelf? Is it a temporary shelf? Is it an action scene? Are they posing for a photo? We're going to talk about that kind of stuff tonight. So we got to bring in some professionals, right, D?
Yes, we got some very good insights on that kind of stuff. I think that might be showing up. So
Yeah. And we told them they can arrive whenever they're ready. It's we gave them no notice, right? And I'm gonna
None.
I'm gonna let you know it's a different time zone. There's those issues and things like that at play. So if it happens when it happens, it'll happen, and you'll be like, "Oh, well, that makes good sense, guys." Right? Just stick with it.
It does. It's there's a lot of there's always some last minute behind the scenes stuff that tends to come up. Well, I say always, not always. Frequently, there's some last minute changes or things that need to be shuffled around, I guess.
Yeah, we said it backstage, eh? Like I told him, I was like, "This is like Star Wars." I'm like, I'm going, all right, we're gonna fly casual, Chewie. And there you go. This is us flying casual. We are totally winging it. So Stuart Patrick's here. Tripsy already said hi. Looking to see. Oh, Shane's got 20 to 30 mile per hour wind gusts. No big deal yet. Turk Murph in the house. Okay.
So,
Anyone else? What's Bobby asking? He can't hunt and stream at the same time. Look at Jack Daltrey kid. Yeah. Aaron is not doing the Jack Daltrey streaming and hunting at the same time. He saw that video just in the nick of time because I did see him gun taping the camera mount to the bow. Who else we got? I'm just looking over this. I guess we missed a bit, but I think we're all caught up on the chat. Zombie Aaron looking at flowers.
He did. He said, when we saw, or when last message I saw from him, he had stepped out of the woods because wherever he was at, he didn't really have good phone service. He said either. So, if you've ever been in rural Georgia, you don't have good phone service everywhere.
Yeah, and I'm just gonna be the direct guy I am. I'm gonna hit this hammer on this nail right on the head on the hammer so it sits flush and we don't have to address it anymore. If you guys are wondering what's going on with Aaron, you can go ask Aaron or go check out Aaron's pages, and I think he gives a little synopsis of what's going on with him there, and we can leave it at that. That's not what tonight's going to be about, right?
Do your own research, folks.
Yeah. Oh, and I guess things are picking up where Shane's at. Shane, I can't remember what state you're in. I want to say Florida. Is it?
Yeah, he's right. Yeah, he's right. Just right in the top part of the path that it's supposed to be cutting through. He's in Daytona.
All right. So remember earlier I said if you're the ones with that extra ammo for thoughts and prayers and you're going to spray it area, clearly Florida is where I want you guys thinking tonight. So yeah, so I'm gonna just we're gonna buy a little bit of time. We are gonna get into talking about shelves and everything, but I kind of was curious, Darren, what's your week been like for toys?
It's actually been a pretty good week for toys for me. Had some good pickups. Got a couple videos out. I went to Target on Saturday, and you took advantage of that deal with the Target Circle thing going on and the sale stuff. Picked up a Road Pig and finally picked up the Tiger Force 2-pack that I've been putting off because I knew it was going to clearance. And then today I got the Birdman in today.
Oh, you got Raptor.
Yeah, didn't have time to unbox him because obviously I'm going to do a video. I didn't have time to do it today, so it'll be tomorrow before I get to play with that silly bastard.
Well, you know what? We are going to be talking about shelves later and what we put on our shelves and why. And I will tell you, I love the Raptor figure. And we talked about this. It's okay to love the Raptor figure and hate Raptor, right? We've established this.
That's like a good quarter of my classified,
Yeah.
Like I don't really care for the character, but I love the figure. What's funny talking about Raptor, I remember back, it had to have been probably before I really knew you and probably before I knew Aaron well, at least, because it was on one of Punk's pits, and it was one of the very first Punk's pits. It might have been the very first one that he did. I don't remember, but we were talking about the characters and stuff. So, I mean, this was this was a year ago. I think he's been doing it for a year now. And we were talking about all the characters like, oh, what if they did this? What if they did that? Well, of course, the two that come up were, do you think they're ever going to get around to doing Raptor and Crystal Ball? And we had this whole like long discussion just joking on those characters. And then, of course, Big Boa got brought up, and I dug out my Raptor and my Real American Hero Raptor, and I'm like, look, Punk, you want this guy in a 6-inch figure. And it's funny remembering that conversation and getting him today. And they did what we, what they've been doing well. They took a stupid character and actually made it pretty cool.
Yeah, it's just kind of the thing. I look at it as a beautiful design challenge. Do you give an artist that works at your company? And that's when the guy shows you what he can do. Hey, you know what else? Speaking of guys who want to show us what they can do, here comes some extra support tonight. Coming to the stage, guys, we're just going to bring in our good friend Tony from Legends.
Oh, I'm a part of the Backyard Battlefield. I'm honored, boys.
What's up, brother? You're an honorary member now.
Hell yeah, I appreciate that. Thanks for the invite, man. I'm happy I can come in and help, man.
Yeah, man. Well, as soon as we realized we were going to be flying a little short-staffed, both of us were like, but we know guys that can talk about shelves, talk about crane cannon.
Hell yeah, man.
We hit the list, and you were right at the top, buddy. But guys, we're not done. Okay, I said it's like that episode of Walking Dead. Negan comes up with that baseball bat. Oh, what is this? And then we come in, and we're gonna two-fist you tonight, guys. There we go. So we're bringing in Frostbite all the way from down under.
Nice. What's up, bud?
What's
Hello.
up? Are you eating some shrimp you just got off the Barbie?
I just, because I'm wearing a perfectly white brand new shirt today, I thought the best thing to do would be to cook up some stainy ass tikka masala and take my chances.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Tiki masala, that's the orange brown sauce.
Yeah, it's like a rich red.
Well, that's what you want.
I think he played for the Bengals too.
Yeah. Masala number 81.
Hey guys. Hey, so to you as well, Frost, but I want to thank you and Tony again for joining Darren and I backing us up. And I know
My pleasure.
Aaron the Toy,
No worries.
Thank you very much too.
Oh yeah, man.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Tony, you're in my time zone, but Frostbite, you are definitely not. Can you just remind the guys on my channel where you're at right now?
So I live in Canberra in Australia. So it's Australia's real capital. And it's 12:16 on Thursday afternoon right now.
Right. Oh, you live in our future.
Yeah. He's from the future. Frostbite from the future.
Yeah.
It's amazing because we live in the future, but it still takes us 6 months to get classified figures. So
That's great.
Well, that's for the two guys beside us over there in the States. They could laugh at that, but you get them almost a full year before us in Canada. Like I see you getting stuff a little. I exaggerate, but it's just usually for us. Like I see it coming out of Australia first, right?
A lot of times.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys already got like Cobra Commander and stuff, right? I haven't even gotten that yet.
Oh, really?
I'm still waiting for retro card Cobra Commander from BBTS.
Yeah, we do have that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I haven't even seen it in stores neither.
And you're
BBTS comes in last for once.
Yeah, yeah. Because they actually sent me the Stinger first before Pulse. Which
yeah, they've done that a lot this year. They've sent stuff like 2 weeks or a month before anybody else on certain things. It's weird that they haven't sent that out yet.
Yeah, and it just goes, like we could probably do a whole other jam show where we just talk about what came out in what order in our region and how messed up that is, right? Like here in Ottawa, I have a huge retro overlap where one wave passed the other in availability. If you know what I mean by that, like one wave totally jumped the other, and Beachhead was like more recent than anything else. But
yeah, I went in Walmart looking for hopefully try, maybe I'll get lucky in the one Walmart I go to that still has classified. We'll get that Iron Grenadier wave. I'm waiting on a restock at that store, but retro cards. So they've got on the peg Duke, Scarlet, and Beachhead.
Yeah. So really quick, gonna jump back to the chat here. Say good evening to Daredevil Dave as well. Another
nice.
one down in the southern side of your country there, buddy. So we're watching for you to land at some point if the wind picks you up. And we got a punk with toys who I did ask to join us as well, but he was unavailable tonight. But he sends his best. He's not really thinking we're fools. That's just his way of saying hi. And he'll go on for the next 3 comments saying, "No, you're fools."
Yeah, like, you're all fools. If that wind does pick Dave up, he might just land in Florida.
No. So long as he's hydrated, he'll be fine. That guy is.
That's right. Yep, lap up some of that rain while you're in the air, Dave.
I did see same time Toy said it's already like 20, 30 mile an hour winds by him.
Yeah, that's
Oof, jeez.
We got yelled at to come back inside. We'll see what his signal's like inside. Maybe that tornado is helping him get a better signal tonight.
Yeah, that was the thing. They said there'd already been like with the approaching gusts and stuff that have been ahead of the eye or whatever, that if before it hits, it's already spinning up tornadoes. Like, I don't get a lot of tornadoes in Florida, I don't think.
Yeah,
it's hurricane runoff. It would make sense, but tornadoes, I thought they needed like that cold front, ward front piece of land issue going on there for.
Well, I will say this: by me yesterday, it was 75 degrees, and today it dropped to 50.
Yeah, that's
wow.
I don't understand the crazy temp drop, and like all of a sudden now for the rest of the week, it's like fall weather. It's 55, 65 tops. But literally yesterday, I was walking around in a sleeveless shirt because it was almost 80 degrees. So within a matter of 24 hours, the temperature just completely changed over here.
Wow.
Yeah, we're going to get some of that, I think, at the end of the weekend. I think the high, like next Monday here, is like 70. It was probably about 80 here today. But our nights, like, man, I love the nights. This is my time of year because at nights, like, it's already down 50. Like, we've had some nights that are in the 40s, and one of the nights coming up, we might actually have some frost. So,
by us, man, it just goes from summer to winter. And now there's no in between anymore.
Yeah.
It's kind of annoying.
It's different. Is it like that with you down in the southern hemisphere, like that in Australia? Like, are you noticing a change in your seasons, or is it always just consistent like that with you?
It's always pretty consistent depending on where you live. My town is in sort of like a gully. And on the sides of one side of the gully, we've got snowfields. So it's just cold for about 9 months of the year.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Not something I would have associated with Australia, but I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, he and I have had that conversation before. I always assume it's like a desert.
Yeah, me too.
And it's
but again,
not.
you've got that entire Pacific Ocean all around you pushing in cold air. Like, there's got to be enough on the land. That would make sense. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
and they're not that far from Antarctica.
I just wanted to point out Trip C is also hearing a lot of sirens tonight. Now go ahead.
Jesus.
There's one place that I went to here in Australia called Alice Springs, and interestingly, in the middle of winter, it would hit 0 degrees of a morning, and then during the day it would get to 35.
Yeah.
So that's a massive shift for us.
Yeah.
And that's Celsius. Not Fahrenheit,
Yeah.
Celsius. So.
Yeah, I mean, it occurs to me. When I was in Kabul, Afghanistan, it blew my mind that they had a winter. Like the idea of shoveling snow off my vehicle in the morning, I was laughing every day. I was mad, but I was laughing. The Trip C says there's been 50 tornadoes already or cyclones. Wow, guys.
God damn.
Well, okay. Well, you know what? We're talking display shelves tonight. Maybe we'll do it a little tongue in cheek for some of you. You might be very well having to reset your display shelves again, soon, right?
For
If
real.
you can pick up all the parts.
Yeah.
So-
Put everything in totes and tape the totes down.
100%. Yeah, just be safe, man. Please. Just
Yeah.
I hope everything is okay. Hope you guys get through the night all right.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. And and please keep us updated, like as best you can. But don't stay online past where you have to. I don't need the views that bad, guys. Just go somewhere.
Yeah, Shane, don't get yelled at again.
Yeah,
He's
stop
gonna
getting
get
yelled at like you're a 50-year-old teenager, Shane. Oh, that comment! I
Aren't
didn't
we
put it
all?
up, but it did that. So I'm gonna roll it just so these guys get some content before they get swept away like Wizard of Oz. And I'm gonna ask the very first question. Well, I'm just gonna keep going with down south first, then Tony, and then Frostbite. And the order
Okay.
you showed up. And
Tell you what, why don't can you move us around? Why don't you move one of those guys up top and let me go last. They're our guests. Can you do that?
Well, you son of a bitch, you just made me figure it if I have to do it on an iPhone. No, I'm going to go counterclockwise. I'm just going to screw with you. I'm going to go Frostbite, then Tony, then you.
Well, that'll work. That'll completely negate that. Then I should have thought of that.
Make me friggin' hack my phone. No. So Frostbite, I haven't had the pleasure of ever sharing a screen with you and having conversations with you. So everything I knew is genuinely new with you. And Tony, I've only met you a few times. I've talked to you and I've watched lots of your content. Darren, I know you lots. Let's start with Frostbite. When did you first put up a shelf dedicated to your toys? Was it as a child, or are you just doing it now as an adult?
No, I'm only just doing it as an adult. So I sort of started recollecting all my Joes about, I'm going to say 3 years ago. And I sort of was only displaying probably 3 or 4 main ones. And I was actually just buying a crap load and boxing them away, weirdly, like storing them, as in like squirreling them away like a little chipmunk. Because it was more like the feels of just having them. And then a couple of years, maybe like a year and a half ago, and both parents had passed away, and I was just sort of looked at myself and thought, why are you doing that? Bring them all out and display everything.
Right. No, I love that explanation. And that's very much one of the things I think we wanted to cover tonight was what was driving your shelves, right? So, Tony, same question to you for Legend Series. You know, I know you talk about your shelves all the time, right? But just for some of the guys that are new to the chats, and just recap, same question to you. As a kid or as an adult, when did you start building shelving for your characters?
Definitely as an adult. As a kid, I don't think I had them long enough to display them. They usually broke. I was a very destructive kid, so I didn't really take care of my action figures. It wasn't until I became an adult that I started collecting action figures, and it was mostly Marvel. Only because I was really attached to the comics. It wasn't until what was it? I always kind of think that like G.I. Joe Classified and like the Masterverse line kind of came out around the same time. Because I feel like that's when I started collecting both,
right?
And that's kind of when I sidetracked from Marvel. So for a while, it was mostly just Marvel figures on my shelf, and then as I kind of spurned off and started collecting Classified, He-Man, Thundercats, and all this other shit, I started to kind of like, I do the same thing that Frostbite did. I put everything in totes and just store it because it was mostly a lot of these figures are for photography purposes, not really display purposes. Like I'll just have an idea for like, oh, this guy should fight this guy, and then I'll buy him and store him. So my shelf then became don't display everything because I just don't have the space. I don't have a lot of shelf space. I have a ledge around my whole like man cave here that I had them all on at some point, but it was just you know how it is. You knock one down, they all fucking come crashing down. So I was just like, I don't want to deal with that anymore because I don't want to lose accessories and shit like that. So I just went with display things that mean something to you. Like, is it a childhood movie? Is it the comic book character itself, a video game character? So now what goes on my shelf is basically like, I have a literal mix of everything that I've ever loved as a kid and as an adult now. So it's a little G.I. Joe, it's He-Man, Gargoyles, I have Buzz Lightyear, I have Mandalorian and Boba Fett, I have X-Men, I have a bunch of custom figures that I made, like the Christopher Walken figure that I made. I have Bill Burr behind me. Whenever I get in doubt, I just look at Bill Burr and I think to myself, what would Billy do? And and
WWBD.
exactly. So it's just stuff like that. Like I put stuff that kind of means something to me. I'm like, oh shit, like I'm on an all-out search now to build custom figures that I've never had before, and that's probably what's going to start occupying the space because they're going to mean that much more. Because not only did I make them, but they had like I said, they have nostalgia too.
Oh, I'm totally picking up what you're laying down and all of
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
I've heard you say this stuff before, so it's one of the reasons why you had to be on tonight too, right? So
I appreciate that.
Darren, I mean, we've talked about your shelf and the conundrums of this new place and what you've fought with it. I know you're a no mix kind of shelf guy. So when did it start for you? Kid, adult, why?
I never, when I was a kid, I never had them on a shelf. I mean, they were in, I had boxes, like just cardboard, whatever, shipping, packing boxes that I kept most of my stuff in. I kept all of my figures in one and other stuff in others and consolidated as I had to. But when I was a kid, I mean, nothing was really on a shelf that was toys. I had little knickknacks and stuff. As I got older and into my, I guess late teens, early 20s, when the Power of the Force 2 stuff was coming out, when that stuff started coming out in 95 and then forward, as I was collecting that kind of stuff, that's when I would start displaying it, whether it was stuff that I picked up to keep packaged or stuff I opened. A lot of that stuff I bought one of each when I could. So that was when I started. Everything was a shelf. Like everything that wasn't getting, walk in the door and throw your keys on it or whatever, anything that was a static non-used space was a shelf. And then when I got into my first property that I owned, which was a trailer, I had a whole extra bedroom that I turned into a office computer room, and it was basically a scaled down version of what this room is now. Had my computer in it, and then I put a couple of actual shelving units in it. And from there, I've always tried to keep some kind of a shelf to have stuff, but there was kind of a lull in my collecting where I didn't really have anything out, but that was living situation and roommates and whatnot. But the whole time in my adult life that I have been actively collecting, I've had some kind of shelf somewhere with what I'm into on it. Even if it's just like the corner hutch in my living room, it's had toys and stuff in it.
Okay. Well, I mean, I'm just did we lose Darren's mic? Am I the only one hearing that, or am I talking over people?
I think you're fine.
I'm here.
Yeah, I can hear everybody.
Yeah, sorry, I was looking at two different screens. I think that just got a little lag on my end. The whole time I'm looking at Darren's shelves in the background too while he's explaining these, and I've heard this before, the history of it, but I just noticed something new on your background, Darren. I gotta ask you about it. Who's sitting beside you?
Oh boy, yeah.
I was hoping you asked that.
That's my October Halloween companion. I actually have not given him a name yet. I've actually been soliciting suggestions for a good name for this guy. So
he looks like Big Pimpin' over there.
Yeah, so I threw Destro's necklace on him, and I've changed his shirt twice, and I put my skull shirt on him, and so he's going to be dressed different. If you see me online, he's going to have a different look.
That's
probably
awesome.
keep the shades though.
Yeah, at first I just threw my eye to Grumpy Bear, and then it was that. So
that looks like the Guardian of the Skelf.
Yeah, he is. He's in front of the skelf. Like the skelf's right there. So if I put him any further back, I block him when I rotate around. And I tried to put him over here, but I got a little table that sits over here, and I just can't have him between me and my coffee. So
now, Frostbite, you you were actually nice enough to come and join us today on back-to-back live nights. Like you just were with Darren the other night. What was your live topic last night? In case guys want to go watch that in the replay, by the way.
It was just more of a hangout thing. I've found a couple of things that I just wanted to show people. So, like IKEA has some really nice cheap box frames. And when I say cheap, I mean $10 or $15 Australian, so $8 or $12 American.
That's
Oh wow!
I've been doing some like classified cocoa
That's
thrones.
awesome.
Oh, let's have a
That's
look.
really awesome. Dude.
Oh, I like that. That is sick. Is that's polystyrene? Is that clay or is that 3D mold?
This is like it's FDM, so 3D printed.
Wow.
That's awesome stuff, dude.
Not perfect.
So I designed that. And then after that, I went through all the cheap classifieds sitting on Amazon right now. Like there's just some really ridiculously cheap prices going right now.
Right. Yeah. And that's kind of where I was chiming in last night because it was kind of cool. We got the Australian dollar, the US dollar, and then I was picking in between going, so that landed me there as a Canadian. Yeah, actually, and that's great that you brought that we were talking about that for a second because I never answered my own question, but I started doing my shelving really briefly in the military. I had my action figure Hall of Fame, like it was like 9 figures. It's the most figures anybody in the Army had seen a guy put on his wall and still say he was the man, right? But it never lasted. I just got started with it now, but today I did a video and I'm going to show you this because we're talking about stands and affordable stands, and I just put out a video on these what do they call them, the collapsing like folding stands, they're floating stands by BioEssence, and these were incredibly affordable, and I found them really useful for displaying the figures that kind of needed their own environment.
That's cool. I saw that video, but I hadn't had a chance to watch it yet. I was going to watch it in the morning. I like those, man.
Yeah, dude,
those are perfect.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, they were a neat discovery, and guys. So this is what I'll show everybody because yes, I'll be gratuitous. It's my channel. I'll do this. Okay. Yeah, I put a video out on these. They're BioEssence floating display frames. They say they're 7x7, but they're more like 6.5 by 6.5. They're measuring the outside of the frame, but they are basically a laminate, a clamshell.
Yeah.
You squeeze your figures in, and there's the Canadian price at GameStop right now. You get 2 for that. So
I'll have to look for a couple of those. Now, are they reusable? Like if you pull that figure out, are they going to be molded to that shape, or
you didn't? Are you sure you didn't watch my video?
No, but it just seems like a logical question to ask.
Well, then, it's funny you bring that up because that's all covered in my video. Be sure to watch. There, I can take that.
Like, share, subscribe. It's all in the video.
All right. No, I wanted to bring those up, guys, because it's relevant to the topic tonight, and it's about displays. And I am putting up the chat as I'm going. I'm just watching for new guys to bring up stuff as well, but I also see you guys are tending to the chat. I appreciate that, guys. There we go. So, sorry, I have been really off the chat. Okay, good enough. I think we've got the gist of that. Hey, listen, next question. And I'm going to go back to Frosty for this one because I see all the backlighting, right? And it's not when you frame yourself on your channel, what I've seen is that you really are the center point, and in the peripheral or what you bring up is about the toys, right? Yeah. And I'm wondering if you're doing that on purpose, or if this is a camera angle restriction you have, or if there's just something you want more noticed with your displays, the way you're doing it.
So when it comes to videos and displaying my stuff, I just use the tagline of work easier instead of working harder. So I literally don't buy a crap load of toys, and I don't like big toys. So big vehicles for Joe, I just can't store them. So when you see the stuff behind me, this is literally my desk that I sit at. So if you want to look behind the camera.
Oh, look at this. Aren't you guys glad you tuned in here tonight? Some extra footage.
Yep, that looks about right.
Yeah, I think we can all do this right now. Post-it notes. Yep.
Yep. That's great. Yeah, I think most of us have that some type of that view around us with what you don't see.
100%.
Yeah, so that's like what you see is just pretty much what I want you to see. But this is my office, so it's not a staged backdrop. It's exactly what I sit and enjoy my toys in.
Yeah, and that's what I meant. Like, to me, when I see you there, it's always kind of you are the center point, and everything else is the guest. That's the show. It just happens to be toys, right? And I think that's a purposeful tactic. I just didn't know if maybe there was more to strategy, but you explained it really well. Thank you.
Yeah.
Tony, same thing over to you. With you, I see far more toys in the background, but I know damn well, you're a hot dude, but it's your voice, right? So we get this big microphone right at the forefront now.
It's like
what do you do on purpose here, and what do you think is coincidental with your displays?
Well, when I first started this, I had no toys behind me because, like I said, I had just kind of cleaned up the ledge, so I had nothing behind me. So if you watch the first episode of Talking Figures, I have nothing really behind me except for the shelf above me. It wasn't until I started kind of really getting into this shit that I like the toy content stuff that I was like, all right, you're going to be doing this weekly. You're going to be interviewing people. It's about toys. Start setting up figures. So I just started to set up the figures. The only thing I honestly did on purpose was I sit just so you can see the top shelf, the YouTube thing behind me, and like I said, just the figures. I don't want you to really see anything else. I don't need you to see anything else. Like I have this is just my giant, this is my man cave essentially. So I can set anything up in here how I want. But I just kind of relegated myself to this corner because I have my living space over here. But what's funny is I'll do the watch out. My wife is in here, so I don't want her to get seen. I'm going to show that over there.
Brown Fox Productions in the hit.
Yeah, she's here. Over here, they said hello, by the way.
Hi.
They said over here, that's where I have all my diorama stuff. So that's where I do my photography. That's where I do everything. But in terms of back here, no, I just have my stuff here. Like I have a couple vehicles in box still. I have the Hiss box because I just love it, and I have this fucking thing. What is it? The tumbler.
The tumbler. I see a lot.
Nothing is done on purpose. The only thing I do on purpose, honestly, is the figures that are hanging on the wall behind me. Those are gifts from people.
Right on.
The Kingpin over there was a gift. The She-Hulk was a gift from Mython. The $1 Million Man I have over here is a gift from Aaron the Toy Enhancer. This X-Men Wolverine was a gift, and a couple of these G.I. Joe retros were gifts. So I don't open gifts. I just put them on the back. Those are the only things that's done on purpose. Everything else, like I said, it's just kind of done. I just put them where the fuck I want. And,
hey, Legend.
Yeah.
So just to hear my weirdness, I've listened to it. Like I've been with you since the start, just watching your stuff. I really loved you coming along, and like your channel's excellent.
Thank you, sir.
My weird thought, because I know like a lot of the time when you're just hanging out in your videos, and you quite often refer, to your right? No, to your left, and you said like you'll often be talking to your missus or I think your son. You've mentioned.
No, not my son. He technically is my son because he's my student for wrestling.
Right.
So technically, but yeah, he's my buddy Felix. Yeah.
But I just in my brain, whenever you did that, because that's the first time I've seen that room. I've always just thought you've had this nice couch with LED lights and just a nice little like coffee table there, the Crown Fox and an old mate are sitting there. So it's great to actually see that.
We are in the process of getting a new couch because this couch we have kind of sucks.
Yeah.
So we're in the process of getting a new couch. So we're trying to make it a little bit more cozier in that section. That's where they hang out. This room was built like when I set it up, it was set up for fantasy football. and if you want, I'll show you again. So I have a TV against that wall. It's behind the diorama. I have a TV there, and then I have a TV here. Okay, I have computer screens here for fantasy football and shit like that. So I got like screens everywhere in this goddamn room. And the only thing, the reason that I had the TV on the wall over there, but I took it down because now I use it as a backdrop for all the dioramas and shit. It's just easier instead of making shit. Sometimes you just use the TV. It makes life easier.
I've got to experiment with doing that more.
Yeah, I've never seen a setup like that where it used to be like this boardroom of fantasy football.
Buddy, I had the Sunday ticket. I had a different game on every fucking screen. I had my fantasy team on one computer. I had the red zone channel that had all the touchdowns on one TV. It was like I said, it looked like Chili's. It looked like you were in a sports bar. It's crazy.
It just speaks to what we already know about Legend Series. Like if you've watched the channel, which of course you have, you know the wrestling background, you know all his background. This is an entertainer, right? So it's go hard or go home.
Yeah, for real.
Right. So it's just gonna quickly say hi to Frank Demonio. And I know we've also had 80s Toy Boy pop in here. And I know a lot more people will probably tune in on the replay, as is always with our lives, Darren?
That's right. Hit the like.
I just going through, I don't think we've skipped anything over the chat.
To answer 80s Toy Boy here, my whole life I wanted to be Batman. So that's what all the screens are. If that helps you.
Yeah,
I can see it. It's
ready to
true.
Ready to solve a mystery. You figure it out.
When you say it like that, I can definitely see it.
So, Darren, your background, right? I noticed you're doing the hey guys, it's Halloween. We're going to light the background, right? What are some techniques that you're doing this week that you think are going to stick around? Like some new stuff that you've been doing and trying out. Same stuff.
Well, as far as the like the string lights back there, I had the Christmas lights up, but when I decided to kind of rearrange the shelves and stuff, and it really doesn't even that much look like they're rearranged, but it was a shitload of work. I wanted to add lights that went all the way onto the other shelves. And I bought another box of those LED Christmas lights last year, but that was that was after Christmas. I can't find them damn lights. So with Halloween being here now, the lights that I've got up back there now, I actually have some others that I decorate with, but I saw them at Walmart and they're zombie lights is what they're called. They're green, but they have purple. The tips of them are purple. So they give off this like sickly green glow, and I like green, so I'm like, well, I'm just going to change the lights out, and I'll do 2 strands of those and wrap them around all of those shelves. So those actually will probably just stay up because it's really hard getting them up without knocking a bunch of shit over.
Yeah.
Now, as far as what you see, yes, it is a combination of the camera angle, and I want to be in the middle, but it is also the way I have to fit everything in this room. So I did a video recently about putting together the new set of shelves, and I did a walkthrough of this room, and it really hasn't changed a whole lot other than the position of the shelves, but everybody else is kind of going around. So
yeah,
that's what you don't see. There's my door going out of this room. There's the shelf that I just put out.
Eco, yeah.
And then
or Octo, pardon me.
There's the shelf in the corner, and then Joe stuff and whatever. So I do situate the stuff on the shelves a certain way when I put it out, and I'm sure we're going to talk about that. But as far as the angle of what you see when you see me, when I redid these shelves, this is exactly how I wanted it. Me in the middle and toys going out the side just from the camera angle. So as far as how I set the shelves up, I'm sure we're going to talk about that. So
yeah, and So just for my own clarity, because I've seen Darren's shelling before, but I have never seen Darren's actual background, nor did I ever see Frosty's or Tony's either. And mine is all
Tells me you didn't watch that video.
yeah. I watch videos the same way I watch all videos while doing hobbies.
Yes.
For myself, guys, it's always temporary. This wasn't me wanting to talk about how I do my setup. This episode tonight is about me asking these guys for advice because I can never settle on anything. So I'm going to roll right to the next question because I got the advice I needed from just how these guys described theirs. And it's the last one I wanted to ask about lighting. Is there a minimal standard for you for lighting? Is there a lighting that you won't go to, or is there a lighting like you have to go to? Because I know some guys will buy like dollar store lighting, like myself, where it's really cheap lighting, uses AA batteries. Some guys are plugins. I'm looking at yours. Can you talk about what you use?
Yeah, so simple as I went to Kmart and got the ones you can see behind me, the blues. They are just $12 Australian 3-meter Kmart LEDs. So they're USB plugins, and they come in, I think, something like 20 colors, 21 colors.
Okay.
So, and when I've lit them up, I'm always I like lines sort of giving a faint glow off.
Yeah.
So that's why I've gone with those. And the ones that you see above me, they're ones that I got off Amazon. And I think that was 20 Australian for 10 meters. And these ones, you can do music lighting or, music sort of fixture with them.
Pulsing.
Yeah, whatever you like. But that was just me trying something different. But when I actually light them up for my videos, I always try and have conflicting colors of some type. And
because even now you've got blue and green, one's going vertical and one's going horizontal. It's awesome.
I see light side of the Force lightsabers when I see your shells.
Yep.
There we go.
And how I got to this, like I do with a lot of my YouTube stuff in doing videos and stuff, is I look around the YouTube community and I see what I like to look or listen to. And then, emulation, right? Like there's no original ideas anymore. So the best thing you can do is just find something you really like and it makes you really happy, and you do that.
No, that's actually one of the fairest things I've heard is there's no originality. There's just your spin on something that's already out there. Right.
Correct.
Like,
yeah. And that was some advice that I solicited starting my channel. Was I went to Punk and I asked him some questions about, like, I really like the way that he does his reviews. That's what I want to see in a review, is from what it looks like in the box, from the box to on the Lazy Susan spinning around. And I was like, I don't want people to think that I'm copying what you do. And that's pretty much what he told me, is like, do it, but make it your own. Do it and change it and put your spin on it, because we're all doing roughly the same shit. So, if you don't do it the exact same way as somebody else, like speech patterns and same setup, everything like that, that's fine. That's what you got to do, is you got to just take it. It's like the telephone game. You take the concept and you add a little bit to it to make it yours, and then next person will do that with theirs. So same thing with backdrops and lightings. Like, you get ideas from other people and you adapt that to your style or what you collect or the constraints of your space.
Yeah. And I'm glad you chimed in with that, because it's all, like I said, valid points. And Punk gives a lot of good advice, because Punk will often sit there and just spend a lot of time not even worrying about his channel, just seeing what's working with a lot of other guys and just speaking to the law of averages. And that's all it is. It's on average, you will see people succeed with this, right? Punk's not the only guy that will give you advice out there. He's just the only example we're giving right now.
Yeah.
Tony, Same question with you about the just that there's anything you want to talk about purposeful intent with your lighting, because with
In
you,
terms of lighting,
yeah, and with you, I see a late night talk show host feel with it, and I'm wondering what you want to say about that.
I mean, you might be spot on, but that's technically what I wanted to go with when I was, because the only time I like this stuff is when you see me. So like other times I don't have the shelf lit at all. So I set the lights up myself because I know that it's going to be, presentation is key. You know, I always tell people when it comes to these videos, video has to be good, but it doesn't have to be the best. Your audio has to be crisp. But people do want to see, a nice backdrop. They want to see good presentation too. They don't want to just see shit, So I'm a big contrast of colors guy myself as well. So I always tend to go teal lighting, like a light blue, and like a violet, because those two colors contrast together like just so beautifully.
Yes.
And it gives it a very good 80s feel. I love that, the 80s synth wave type stuff.
Sure.
Yeah.
I always try to go with that kind of color contrast, especially because most of these toys are from the 80s.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to light it, efficiently and correctly, accordingly. So to me, I have a shelf over here that just has vehicles on it that has that same kind of string lighting that Frostbite has.
Mm-hmm.
And I do like that a lot. So if I could buy more of those, I would. I do also have the dollar store battery lights that you have as well.
Yeah.
And those are really good as well. But I tend to use those more for action figure photography than shelving, because I just think they play better when it comes to taking pictures. But I just take these spotlights, man. Just like I have this little guy, it has a magnifying glass on it, so it creates a ring, like a complete circle, perfect spotlight on this. See?
Oh wow!
I get a
I like those.
Yeah, they were $15 on Amazon. I guess I'll shut it off so you could see what it looks like, but it looks just like that.
Now he turns it on and blinds us.
Yeah. But yeah, man, they work perfectly. They do the same amount of color changes as all the other color lights that you have, but I just like the spotlight look, especially if you're taking pictures of action figures. I would highly recommend these as well, because they light the back well.
Yeah, the back.
Yeah, I need to look into one of those.
Yeah, they're worth it.
And Shane, I left your comment up here this long so that we can state the obvious. Yes, of course, your garage is original. You don't see many people doing their own Godzilla set, but you knew you stood unique. Plus, that's probably not going to be there tomorrow.
Oh, shit. Damn.
Sorry, buddy. Just kidding, man. Just kidding. He also wants you to know.
About that picture. This was drawn for me by my sister's ex-husband. So when they were together, he was a very talented artist.
Wow.
And I love Conan the Barbarian, and this was a Christmas gift from him. So that's like a hand-drawn picture of that Conan. So it's near and dear to my heart. Because I always say this as well. My favorite character is Conan because of my father. Yeah. He also, if you don't mind, I'll take the camera again. I'll show you.
Oh, please, yeah.
This little thing. He drew this for me, which is another Christmas gift, and I cherish this more than anything in the world. And it's that Hollywood Hogan.
Oh
yeah.
Yeah. He literally took the T-shirt that Hogan had from WCW when he was at the NWO, and he just went in the other room, and in like a matter of an hour, he came out with that. It's all charcoal, so he like shaded it with charcoal and shit. He blew my mind when he fucking gave that to me.
That's great
as a present. Yeah, man. And I'm sure you guys are the same way. When you go to conventions, you buy like just one piece of art from somebody, like you just see, and you're like, oh man, I like to hang that on my wall. I love when someone can actually sit there and say, I'll draw you a portrait. I'll draw you something like that. That to me is so fucking awesome because it's original and it's literally meant for you, man. It's one of a kind.
That's so personal too, right?
Yeah.
Darren, we talked about your lighting a little bit, but Tony brought up a really good point. And you and I were at Joe Fest together. We saw all the artists and everything like that. Is there anything that in your displays, like Tony's mentioning about art, or anything unique that I haven't brought up? I just brought up lighting. That's kind of like, hey man, this is as critical as it gets for my display. Like the necklaces or anything like that makes it for displays for you.
Well, as far like just quickly on the lighting, like I like the string light, and I just like it up there. I have some of the strip LEDs too. I just don't have them up because I put the kind of the posters and everything up before I thought to run the lighting, and I don't want to run it over the top of the posters, but I've literally got stuff all the way on the wall up to the walls, so I didn't put those lights up. But I'm a big fan of backlighting stuff. The one that's on back here in the cabinet, that is one, when we built the cabinet, that is a strip light in the cabinet that was put on there to light those two shelves because it's one big empty space. Thought one string light would do that to light those. And I've got the little stick on button lights that I put in there, but those damn things eat so many batteries. Like, I hardly ever change them out. I didn't get the rechargeable ones. I bought the battery ones because I thought the batteries were going to last longer in LEDs. So I hardly ever have those all on, but I have just started leaving that one on, at least lighting those two shelves. As far as like artwork and stuff, I don't have anything as really as personalized as what Tony's got. I do have stuff in here, like I've got a couple prints that signed by Ron Rudat. I've got a cool Destro and Baroness picture framed over here that Pop Blender give me. So I do have stuff like that I try to keep up. And although now these other shelves are kind of blocking a couple of them, but I will always have some kind of like Joe artwork kind of things. One that I showed in that video, I guess probably the most, personalized one, but not to me, is, you can't see it in the camera, but above that door, right in the middle of that doorway at the top, I do show it in that video that I did of the walkthrough of the room. It is Brock Hoare Jr., who was an artist on the Devil's Due G.I. Joe comic.
Okay, yeah.
We're right after 9/11. When 9/11 happened, he did this print, and it is all of the original Joes at Ground Zero of the World Trade Center.
Oh,
and like Scarlett's got like a bouquet of roses and, standing around, stuff like that. And like all the proceeds were donated for it. And it was, I think, limited to 500. So that is something that I will always have up in my collection, because that was the time that I really started getting back into Joe's and things like that. So as far as personalized stuff, I've got that one, and then my Rudat prints. But then, of course, I've got all of the 3D Joe's posters.
Right. Hang on. Sorry, I lost track of my buttons for a second. I just did it again. There we go. Yeah, losing the chat. So
I saw that Triple C said something about he needs front lighting as well.
I did. Yeah, I wanted to get some of the comments up there because they were kind of rolling for a minute. He says he needs backlighting is great, but when I film, I need front lighting as well.
I can help you with that as well. Triple C. I have two lights that I use when it comes to taking pictures. I always use color for the back. So you always want to light. I always go practical lighting a lot, so I have a lot of small lights that'll fit in just with the sets. But you want to light the back. I always go contrast. You don't have to go contrast, but I would get these little lume cubes for the front. They are, you can adjust the brightness. So I would always lower it down to about a 1, because you don't want to overdo it with the front. So you don't want to have this nice, beautiful blue and then blast all this white light, because all the color just disappears. So keep all your white lights as low as possible when you're filming and when you're shooting. And I have another light here. I'll grab right with it.
And I just, I didn't mean to not say it. So, hey, Wraith Mace, great to have you here, buddy. So,
yeah, this lume cube is a goddamn lifesaver, because it just has 3 settings and it's a little spotlight. And then I took a wire, like a wire spool, and broke it off, and then you stick it in this fucker, and now you get even more concentrated spotlight. So this goes exactly where you need it.
Oh wow!
So that's pretty slick.
Are you picking this up at what price?
This lume cube, I think by itself was $100, but I think I got it with it came with a bunch of these. Like, it has barn windows and this. it has this piece that clips on. So this is magnetic.
So
So
it's
all the
part
pieces
of
that come
Yeah.
just clips right on.
Okay.
But this one is just, this is what it looks like. Just a small little cube. They're the same brand. They're both Lume Cube. But these, you can get all of these on Amazon. Just type in Lume Cube, Lume Cube.
Yeah.
My wife, if she's graciously sharing the link to this, if anybody's interested.
Yeah.
But yes, I would highly recommend these for filming, bro.
Oh.
They are a lifesaver, man.
Well, thank you so much for that. And I know
very welcome.
he appreciates that. Just guys, just as I'm reading in the chats, it seems like it's starting to get pretty hairy out there in Florida and everything like that. So this next question, I'm gonna whip this off with just a really quick round robin answer, starting the same way we did it before. And I'm just gonna find the question because I think it's the perfect question for it. Where was the one about the Terror Dome from Bobby? Starting with you, Frostbite, how would you go about lighting a classified scale Terror Dome? Just give us a quick 2 answer. Like I would use.
I would chuck the brightest light I could ever find inside of that thing, and that would be it. Turn off the lights.
Just illuminate it like it's the sun kind of.
Illuminate from the inside,
Mhm.
and that way, you can see the depth of it, and you can see all the inside properly.
Oh, great answer, man.
Yeah,
Thank
drop it down in the fire bat dome, and
Yeah.
the lights shine. The light will shine through all the cracks. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
Tony, anything to add or defer?
I'd go crazy. Because I would, like I said, I would go practical as much as I could. So every little thing that I could put a small bulb, whether it's like those strip lights from the dollar store or anything else, light up computer screens. I would light up the center like Frostbite for sure. But I would mix it with a contrast of colors. So when you shut that light off, it looks like something's going on in every part of that Terror Dome.
Like
So
a
when you
Death
look at-
Star almost kind of.
Yeah. So you're like,
Yeah.
oh shit, look at the computer screens light up. This lights up. This is lighting up. The everything lights up. So it looks like it's actually working when you shut all the lights off.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Yeah. And Darren, anything to add? Or would you do it different?
I like both of their ideas, but I read the question like you're looking at it in a gallery and it's like a statue on a pedestal. So I would go with something like what Legend Series just said with that Lume Cube with the spotlight, and just put a spotlight on it, hit and adjust the light so the light's just hitting the Terror Drome. If you got it where it's spinning, similar to how Toy Enhancer had his set up where it could spin around, and then the thing is throwing different shadows around as it's going around. Something like that's how I interpret that. So yeah, that's what I'd do.
I really wouldn't do it any differently than any one of the three of you did. It's covered all the ways to cover it, but I think what I would look forward to more is dremeling the hell out of that thing and making it into like a destroyed Terror Dome and letting natural daylight shine through the ruins of a Terror Dome. Like that's what I picture in that, but I'm a destructionist. I like everything destroyed, right? So
I have a hard time talking about destroying stuff that's 40 years old and expensive.
Well,
if you could find a beater shell, yeah, right. If you could find a beater shell to do it with, that'd be great.
Well, that would just be it. Just find one you couldn't repair and just do it that way. But it's not anything I'd practically do.
And this would be at a classified scale, you said.
That's what I would.
This would be fucking massive. This thing, no?
Yeah.
Oh well, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Save myself some space with a shattered one.
Yeah.
Hey, I want to get to the funnest question of them all. And by fun, I mean it's for us and not for these guys in the chat, although they've been great with the interaction. And, want to give guys in Florida something before they tune out. Starting with Frostbite, buddy, I need you to show me one of your shelves that you're most proud of. What's going on in the story? Maybe just one, if you're comfortable in sharing that tonight.
Okay, I'll just turn the light on.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure we've seen this on your channel. I haven't, but I think it's just fun. Everybody pick a shelf and go, here's what's going on here, and let us see it.
It's hard because my camera's here and it won't stretch all the way over there.
Oh, I hadn't thought about that.
But like I can just show you down. It's not a shelf, it's my shit pile.
Yes.
ready?
Yes, man. Adapt to the situation as best you can. I'm not embarrassed at all. All right. Oh, look at that.
Boxed. A Star Brigade vehicle. Yeah, that's not a shit pile. That's pretty amazing having all of the box
Yeah,
stuff
for real.
like that.
That looks like
I like it.
like an expensive booth I walked through at Joe Fest. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's like it's like a vendor display at a con or something. They're
Yeah,
just
for sure.
different
It
stuff.
just gets
mixed
worse.
in.
It is bottomless, I'm noticing. Like,
It just keeps going.
It does.
You weren't kidding. It does get worse. I
So,
thought that was a
like
walking
a oh, and just Legend series, just before when we're talking about art. So that's probably the piece I love the most in my collection. It's a Michael Turner framed
Awesome.
signed piece
Is that-
of like limited lithograph.
Oh wow,
that-
dude.
Fathom.
Is that
Awesome.
Fathom?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. I remember that era of comics, man. Is that series still going?
I love that X-Men. I love that Wolverine Origins poster, bud.
I
Yeah,
had
that's
that.
one of my favorite covers of all time.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome, dude.
The Origin
That's
series wasn't a great Wolverine series, but some of the art was phenomenal.
Hell yeah,
Yeah.
So yeah.
for real.
Thank you for that, man. Like, yeah, sorry. I know you guys got to realize I'm catching these guys completely off guard with questions. We had no prep time whatsoever. So thanks, Frostbite, for picking up what I was laying down and putting that somewhere.
You're
Tony, what if I were to take that over to you and say, in your display, do you have a story on one particular shelf that you'd want to share with everyone tonight?
Yeah, sure.
All right, let's have
I
a
think I
look.
can reach it too. As you know, I'm a big WAP, so I like gangsters. So
I was thinking Cardi B. I'm like, no, that's not right.
no, not WAP, not that.
That's what I thought you said.
Or WAP, whatever the fuck she says.
Not a rap, he's a wall.
I mean, like, we have that word up here too.
Right, this shelf right here. It's just it's all gangsters essentially. That front row.
I love it.
You know, Kingpin, Chris Walken, and Destro. That was a custom Destro that was made by Mikey from JMK Customs.
Nice.
Which I absolutely love. And then I have Tombstone back there. Like, to me, Tombstone will go up there as one of the figures of the year in terms of Marvel Legends. I just love.
Liked it that much?
Oh, I loved it that much, dude.
It's a great looking figure.
Yeah, and I do like the Heroes for Hire. And this this particular blob, it's a funny story. My friend Kenny looks like him. So he's the only reason the blob is on my shelf. Otherwise, I would not give a fuck to have the blob there at all. But I have him posed in, like, because my buddy Kenny was my tag team partner when we were wrestling, and I have him doing the same exact pose that Kenny used to do, and it's scary how much it looks like my buddy.
Okay, so I gotta ask the two of you, Wolverine Origins, when they portray Fred Dukes in the ring, in a boxing ring, like, were you guys laughing your ass off the whole time? Or?
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thanks for sharing that shelf.
Yeah, bud.
Hey, Darren, same thing over to you. Is there one that you can focus your camera on, or do you have to adapt to the question and just be like, I gotta show you this then?
I can't get my camera over there, but I knew we were doing this tonight, so I just took some pictures of my shelves last night. So I did a share screen. If you want to,
let's
throw that up on there. That'll be easier because my camera cord will not reach it, and in this light, you'll never be able to see it.
You know what I just realized? We have 4 people on. I don't know if I have a slot for your shows because you need to have the guest slot. I'm just seeing.
Do
no,
you with the share screen?
We're there. We got it.
Okay. All right. So this one, I was sitting there flipping through them, like when I heard the question you wanted to ask. I'm like, okay, well, what do I want to show? Because, you know, if you take pictures, you can't really get everything all in one picture. So I did pick this one to show off. This is, of course, the Skelf.
Yeah.
And this is mostly skeleton dudes. It is all skeleton dudes on this side, and then from the other side of that shelf, you've got the Obscuras all lined up there, and these guys are all on a mission to take over the room. And then in the center of everything, you got the leaders, which is Red Death, Demistros, Headless Horseman, and then you got Skelegod back there. And these guys are just sending the ranks in with the skeletons. Have not opened my second skeleton builder figure there. The other one is in the Ramen Racer still.
Oh, yeah.
So I picked the Skelf to show off here because I just love the idea of having all of these guys together, and like they're on the top of that set of shelves. They're just a bunch of mostly. I guess they're probably all bad guys except for maybe Jacob Marley and how objective your view is on the gods of Egypt.
Yeah, that's fair.
So I do Santa Claus. I don't have him open, so he's not counting. But so I picked the Skelf. I just went through and took a bunch of pictures of the different shelves. I didn't know what direction we were going, so that was what I chose for my story. It's just a bunch of generally cool bad guys.
I love that Skelf. I never got to see the Skelf. We've heard so much talk, and I did see some of the skeletons you've purchased in the past, but that red one with the cloak, that's a real eye catcher. Like, I think I want that.
I'm actually going to Legion's Con in November. I'm actually excited. I want to pick up some of those skeletons, man, because they look pretty awesome. Everybody's talking very highly of them.
Yeah, they're pricey on the secondary market too. I got them that morning that they put them up for sale, and I ordered 2, and I haven't opened the second one because for some reason when I buy 2 of something, even though I know I'm going to open it, and I open the first one, and then I find out that it's like it's got a high secondary market value. I have a hard time opening the second one, even though I'm not planning on parting with it. I don't know why. I've still got my second Cobra Eel that boxed. I've never opened my second Eel, and he's come, way down. But I would, if you can get a hold of that dude, at least one, that is a fun figure. You can do so much with that skeleton builder guy.
Yeah, and they are cool. So, and it's funny actually. Now I'm not going to stray. I'm gonna show my shelf at a certain point, but eventually the discussion keeps coming back to, that's cool. Where did you get it? I'm going to get it at X number of cons, right? Like I'm going to go to Legion Con. I'm going to go to Joe Fest. I'm going to go to Gilanta. And then there's guys like me and Frostbite sitting in our respective boundaries under our Commonwealth countries going, oh, a con, eh? So, Ross, but I gotta ask you really quick before I show my shelf. When you hear that the solution is, well, it'll be at the next con, what is it that goes through your head being in Australia? Is it for you to say, well, one day I'll go to a con? Do you go to cons on this continent? Do you make that trip, or is it just going, well, fuck, here comes a whole bunch of mail money?
It's a mixture of you bastards and good on you. You're lucky to have that stuff, so enjoy it. So here in Australia, like we don't have like really big conventions like you guys have. So maybe ones that, I don't know, over a weekend you might get 10,000 people, maybe, I think.
Really?
So pretty small.
Yeah, and I wanted to ask you because, like, I know Canada, we probably have more cons than Australia does.
Yeah.
But I don't think they're anywhere near as hyped, as worthy. Like, big city ones, sure. Toronto, Vancouver, I could see it. But the average con is more like your weekend flea market event in any other city, right?
Yeah.
And for me, it was a big deal to go to Joe Fest, to cross that border, to go through customs, book flights, all that stuff. And I couldn't imagine what it's like on the Southern Hemisphere. So I'm glad you mentioned what Australia's like for cons, because I didn't know if you had that self-contained entertainment sphere like that, right?
Yeah, so I've actually, the last 2 or 3, what I'd call cons I went to, I took footage of. So if you go and check my channel and just look at my videos area, there'll be Geek Fest, Penrith Collectors Con, and Canberra Comic Con. There's videos. It's just me walking around because I like that experience. I like to just see what it's like just walking. No flashing, just walking. So if you want an idea, go check out those videos and you'll get a decent idea of what I see.
Right on. No, and that's good. Like I said, I wanted your perspective on that. It did kind of interrupt the flow of showing shelves, but I felt it was relevant for the time that it came out there. So thanks for speaking on it. And Tony, I know you go to cons all the time, and Darren, you go to what's in your region, and I know I'm going to run into you guys at one of the ones on your continent, our continent.
Oh yeah. Like I said, we're very picky and choosy. Like I don't go to a bunch because all the shit that goes on with me. But like for instance, I the first time I went to ZoloCon was this year. I'll probably go back because it was good. I scored some really good deals. I'm always about the deals. I noticed at cons, you don't get good deals. At toy shows, you get good deals. So if you go to a toy show over a con, it tends to work out a little bit more in your favor because
That's a good point.
because the person selling is trying to get rid of the shit at toy shows. Or at cons, it's like a store that just has a booth there, and their price, they ain't changing that shit, and they're not going to really negotiate, and they're kind of like fuck faces when you go there.
Well, this recent one that I just went to this past weekend here in Nashville, like the vendors there, a lot of stuff seemed high, and it was a con, but it's, I don't know, it seemed either some of the vintage stuff has really gone up a lot even since Joe Fest, or stuff was just kind of really marked up for this one. It seemed like I looked at a lot of mint on card stuff, a lot of Joe's, some He-Man. There was some mask figures there, like the 2-packs, and I was like, yeah, there ain't no way I can't touch this stuff.
Yeah, I noticed it at cons. It's like that because whenever I've gone to toy shows, I tell my wife, we walk out of there and I go, I can't believe I just scored this much stuff for a fraction of what I assumed I was going to pay. Because usually when I go to them, wherever I go, I'm always assuming, all right, you're going to come out of pocket here. You're going to spend some crazy shit because I'm usually looking for something in particular. And I got to be honest with you, at a couple toy shows, I found exactly what I was looking for, and I paid less than what I expected to pay. So I've never had that experience at a convention, ever. Only at toy shows.
It's always nice when they can surprise you like that, right? Because it's not something you would associate with that, like discounts where there doesn't need to be one. It's not expected.
Yeah, exactly. And the people are cool. Like they're much more approachable in terms of like if you want to work out like a little negotiation. Like I noticed at a couple toy shows, I'll say any leeway on price, and 99 times at the toy show they go, yeah. What are you thinking? What are you looking for? Like, and they work with you. They might not get exactly what you want, but you still get something. So I would prefer that because at conventions I've tried and they just look at me like I got 6 heads, and it's just like that's the price. That's what you're paying.
Yeah, that's
like,
right.
all right.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
Yeah. Well, I'm not one to speak like an expert on all that because my official list of cons includes GI Joe Fest 2024. Yeah, that's it. And I took all of that money that I took down and I focused solely on getting figures. And I did consider buying the original art pieces, the little, I like to call them the je ne sais quoi at the fair. Like you can't put a name to this item. It has to be in your house. We saw them. I was really jealous of Darren's Destro necklace, for example, right? And I use Frostbite when you panned over and I saw that Predator mask, right? And Tony, pretty much everything I'm looking at in the background with art. These are things that are available at cons, and a guy like me, the friggin' noob I was like, yeah, I just want to find my Major Blood. I want to find my this and that. And I instantly had regret. But I'm gonna quickly show just my thing there, and one of the pieces of art that I keep forgetting. I gotta show this more.
I guess he doesn't want to show it at all.
Yeah, wrong button. There he is.
Yeah, Tech Whiz Kid. So
it's happened to all of us.
Right, like I cut down the boxes to try and make the art, right? Like I do like the art that's provided. I just, when it comes to spending my money, I'm a crusty old crow and they charge enough for the figures. But my heart went 3 sizes bigger when I got my first piece of art from a guy who sent it to the show. And this is like the coolest piece of art I'm ever gonna have. And I can never find the right spot in the background for it. It's up with some of the cherished figures, like Tony, you were saying, all the figures that your friends gave you.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
keep all my cherished boxes of them, especially the big ones. And this has been hanging out with the chuckles I got from Darren
Yeah.
for a while now. But this was from K's Skills. And I wanted to show that because that keeps reminding me, you got to go to more cons, get this art. But this will always be kind of like the first page of that book, as I see.
Yeah.
We were going to talk about brain cannon. So I'm going to start this off because it's going to kind of transition into a little bit. And that'll be kind of like the last question of the night for you guys, really. It's the brain cannon, the how you view your shelf story. And I know you can't show your shelves, right? Like cameras as they are. And, you know, I didn't give you any advance warning like Darren to get photo packages together. I just quickly show, and this is the only shelf I have going that I want would be worth talking about right now. And that's my Mindbender Lab. I'm not sure how that's showing right now. I'm gonna go
It's
solo.
not bad.
Yeah.
There he went.
I'm digging the glass prison he has Cobra Commander in, though. I will say.
Yeah, that looked really good. That was
Yeah.
the first thing I saw.
Yeah.
I gotta get into solo layout. I'm such a noob. All right, yeah. So the whole deal with this was that I wanted to show you guys was what are you doing with so many Cobra Commanders? Because in my shelf cannon, Dr. Mindbender over here has discovered a book in the multi-universe kind of thing. And I'm just saying he's printing off Cobra Commanders like troops over here and grinding them out like no end. And he's had some professional consultation on how to manipulate things like that. So this was my shelf. This is probably the most fun I've had with the shelf, was doing a Mindbender one because it's unlimited. But it was also an expression kind of like shelf cannon. It's so much fun to kind of slap a bunch of stuff together and go, now explain it, right? And so I kind of want to get your guys' thoughts on your shelf cannon. And Tony, I know you express yours a lot. I'm going to ask you to express it again. And Darren, I know you don't mix. And Frostbite, I'm just really getting to know you. So as all the questions have been, I'm going to start with you first. Can you talk to your shelf cannon, maybe tell people how you see it?
So I don't really have enough storage space for stories or anything. So everything that I do is mainly focused on a collection. So I've got this cabinet you can see here. The top shelf is G1 Autobots, G1 Decepticons, G1, vintage Joes, and then vintage Cobra. And then top one up here is Mask, and a Mask. And then the three ones below it is Motu.
I forgot how many lines you had back there, man.
Yeah, I don't, even though like I focus on my YouTube channel with G.I. Joe, my collecting, I'm sort of across about 5 or 6 different lines. But yeah, I'd sort of try and keep everything together. Probably, like the most disorganized shelf I've got is one just sitting over here. Let's see how far this goes. And it's got a Jetfire, a Battle Ram, and then behind Jetfire is a Thrust Transformers Money Bank.
Okay.
Okay. It's a coin bank?
Yeah.
That's cool.
God, you never talk about those, but they're always there, aren't they?
That's cool. How much money's in it?
Coolest things I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah. It's like one of the most
I like it.
toys.
Yeah, generally,
I was expecting an entire shelf of snowcats somewhere.
Nah, I've got that one there, and so I've got sort of really focused shelves, but then I've just got shelves that are just, let's put some really cool shit together.
Right on.
Yeah.
No, and I appreciate that. And like I said, guys, and I keep apologizing for it because I'm Canadian, but without much warning, I can't get all the camera angles these guys deserve. That begs is a more purposeful endeavor sometime down the road with the getting everybody together again. Tony,
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna close out with you about
Okay.
shelf cannon, but I'm gonna push over to Darren really quick because he has a good logic that goes with why he lays out the shelves, and it's his own shelf cannon and his way of talking about it. So I'm just gonna give it to Darren for a minute here.
Oh, well, I wasn't ready to go next. Pull if you want to. I got another share screen up because I can just
Yes,
flip
sir.
through these pictures a lot easier than I can. A lot easier than I can show them. So I set mine up like Crow said, I don't like to mix stuff. So I like to take certain spots on the shelves and try to put together little scenes. So it's all of mole rats and techno vipers and various purple guys with energon. I like to do little spots on the shelves. I got airborne repelling in to fight them. There's all the vipers, destros, so stuff like that. I like to kind of group stuff together. You ask about Cobra Commander. Well, I've got these two doing the Spider-Man.
Nice.
Those.
Yes, I thought about that too. No,
and then
you.
I got, yeah, you. I got to get one more. I need to get the hooded one over there doing the same pose. I got to dig his pointer finger out. But so there's Jinx backing up Chuckles, getting ready to fight Big Boa in front of the last laugh book. You get your Marauders. This is just so these guys here, you know, again, theme. You got Stalker, Snake Eyes, Scarlet, and then Shockwaves over here, just because this is kind of if I've got another version of them on the shelf somewhere. So I have Punisher there chilling with Theodore Sod Cutter, and there's the skeleton and the racer. This is just kind of a side little thing, you know, it's old thing. There's my snow diorama with Snow Job getting ready to get ambushed. So different things like that. There's the shelf. This is my catch-all shelf. Like you mentioned, I don't typically mix my stuff, but I've got so much other things that I like. I had to devote a space to those things that didn't go with Joe's. So I just took this little piece that I made, this little diorama piece, and I've got all of these other random guys that I like just chilling together.
Yeah,
yep, my Delta 17s. Yeah. You know, there's McCready pouring up a scotch there on the corner. There's Venzini with a 50 cal.
I definitely need that Piper from They Live.
Yep.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's big.
So I've just got, so this is my kind of catch-all shelf, and then there's Grumpy and Kingpin over there on the side. So just random. This is the top of my Joe shelf. There's Dreadnoks, and then, you know, Dreadnought Comics. So they're their own little section of my main Cobra shelf.
The Australians are here.
Kind of the, you know, Cobra agents. So Joe's, there's the command staff, you know, they're kind of in static poses, but I got so many guys. It's like Legend said earlier, you know, one goes, 5 or 6 go.
Yes.
So I've got it. Most of them are in kind of static poses, but see, I got the Joe command staff there. Again, you got Ninjas and or Stalker and Snake Eyes with a Vietnam picture in the background.
Yeah.
So as I do my displays in various little sections, I try to group stuff together. Like these are classic Joes with the exception of Doofus back there in the background. Class of 85, a little group shot of 85. Just so I got Night Force, Python, there's my Crimson guys, there's Scrap Iron Shelf, there's Tiger Force. Again, extras that aren't in the main display, but Duke and Snake Eyes together, a la Revenge of Cobra. Yeah. So when I do mine, I like to, I've got so many and I've got such limited space. I like to group them together, and this section of the shelf is one little thing going on in my brain. And it might be on the same shelf, but it's a whole different scene that's away from it. And that's how for me, that's how I have to put them together. Before I had so many classified guys, I did have this whole main cabinet in a giant battle pose. with everybody fighting.
Right.
But to put them in dynamic poses doing shit, it took up too much room. So I had to condense it back down and do it the way I have it now. But I like to have my own little scenes in each spot in my head, and then vehicles are just kind of spread out wherever.
Yeah, I'm gonna hand this over to Tony afterwards. But Darren, one thing. Sorry, I gotta give you back the stage for a second. One thing I did really notice about your layouts, it seems like I want to describe everybody's layouts, but yours comes off as like the Hall of Fame presentations. Like you've got coasters that are Joe relevant under the figure that's relevant to that coaster with the comic in the background and the lighting, and it's like. It's the kind of stuff I would accept in a museum exhibit. It's so professional. Yeah, I'm really impressed.
I appreciate it because I think it looks sloppy because it's just so random. And with like the books, the comics and things that I've got behind the figures, it's just more background. Like the figures were there, but it looked so bare behind them. I felt like it needed something else back there. I'm like, well, what can I put back there? Because I don't want to stick anything permanently to the paint on the cabinet. And I was like, comics will fit in there. And when I redo the shelves, I'll just swap the comics around a little bit, and it makes good background for stuff. You know, I've even in a couple of my thumbnails, I've put comics in there. So it's just something to kind of fill blank space in the cabinet is where I even come up with that.
And one of the things, like I'm so sorry, I am going to hand this over to Tony for a second, but I was going to say one of the things I keep saying about mine is I'm working on diary, I'm working on this, and I come to realize very rarely do I ever view a shelf as actually permanent. Like I'm like Darren, I categorize things, but I will cross mix, right? So I'll have like OG Joe's on one shelf, Tiger Force, Night Force, Cobra, and then I'll have like my own conversion guys and stuff over there. But it's never set out. I can't call it a display that's going to be permanent because I'm like, in 1 month, I'm going to gut that thing and relay it, right? And I kind of wonder if Tony's often like that himself because I see such a heavy storyteller in you, Tony.
For now, the way I have my shelf set up, because I have my own, like I have a diorama table over there, that becomes my display shelf in a sense, if you will. So if I'm going to tell the story, if I'm going to do anything, it's always on that table over there. But the way I have my shelf set up, I kind of have them sectioned off kind of like everybody else. So just go right from here. So I'm building my own Power Ranger squad. So I'm starting with Shredder as the leader. And then I got that Ryu. And then if anybody follows that Lord Draken story, I got those two guys. Then, of course, under that is my the NECA Ninja Turtles. I bought 2 of these 4-packs, but one of them only had these 3 figures, and then I painted them their respective colors. I don't know if you can see that. I'll just get a spotlight real quick. But right here, if you see, so I got Mikey, Leo, and Donnie. Then this figure was called the Wanderer, but I pulled the swords off and made him Wrath for now until I get the single package Wrath. So those are my Ninja Turtles. This is my Justice League with the Diamond Select Captain America because he's 7 inches, so I figured he'd fit. Of course, you got to have Morgan Freeman on your shelf.
I love that Lucius Fox figure.
Yeah.
I keep seeing it at Walmart.
He's fantastic, so I had to put him on my shelf.
I think a guy like you specifically, Tony, needs a guy like Morgan Freeman on his shelf just for the voice character aspect.
Exactly. Every time I look at him, I say, narrate my story. And then he goes, no problem, Tony. I got you.
Your story narrates itself,
Yeah.
Tony.
I got this badass Mythic Legions wizard in a throne that I bought from Zolocon from Lone Wolf Labs.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think that this is the keeper of my toys. Like, this is the keeper of the toyverse, if you will. And then next to him, like I showed you before, is my gangsters, a couple of bad guys like Hordak, Skeletor's behind him. Then, of course, I got He-Man, and then King Keldor. And like I said, Tombstone, my Christopher Walken figure that I absolutely love.
Yeah.
Down here, I just dropped my Praetorian Guard. Yeah, over here I have just random Marvel figures that I don't know why. They kind of stood out to me. The Sabretooth is another one of my top Marvel Legends figures of the year. And he just goes with this Wolverine. I love Superior Iron Man. I think that's a great fucking story. That's the Legacy Deadpool. Over here is just
I
little.
like the Bob Ross. You didn't mention Bob Ross.
Oh well, you always got to have
I-
Bobby Ross because
I
whenever
have, I've got that Bob Ross.
yeah, because whenever I mess up, I look over at him and I go, "How can we turn this into a happy accident?"
Happy little seagull right there.
Yeah, I have. Like I said, over there is just a bunch of miscellaneous shit. I just finished completing Voltron finally, so he's like the bookend on my shelf over there. Up here is really the best ones. So up here, this is going to be hard. So I'll just hopefully you can hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right, so up here, I have the Avengers with Thanos. These are my favorite Avengers. So it's Ultimate Cap, this Iron Man, which I think is the best Iron Man figure they came out with. This is a Savage Dragon toy I had when I was a kid. So that's the only toy I still have from a childhood. Is that Savage Dragon toy?
And I remember you telling me about that.
Yeah, the rest is G.I. Joe here. So I got all the G.I. Joe figures together. These are just the ones that I loved as a kid. So these are the ones that kind of stood out to me the most. Then over here, obviously, being a pro wrestler, the wrestlers that shaped me. So it's Shawn, Hogan, Savage, Big Daddy Cool, and The Undertaker. Then over here is just random video games and movies. So I got Goliath, Street Fighter, Spawn, RoboCop, another set of Ninja Turtles. That's the best action one, but I consider that like the 2012 cartoon. That's my favorite Ninja Turtle cartoon. And then I have the elephant guy from the Masterverse collection because I just felt like he was such a good action figure that I couldn't just put in a bin. I had to display him. But I just have them set up in a way where like it's just respective of what they are. So it's G.I. Joe, it's Marvel, it's it's the Justice League, it's and so on and so forth. But if I don't have everything displayed because there's just way too much, so I only picked what I love the most. So like those G.I. Joes, those are the ones that I remember as a kid when I was watching the cartoon. So I remember Duke, Hawk, Roadblock. Those are the guys that I have up. I don't go down the whole line, and I know guys will display all the Cobra Troopers and all that stuff. I just can't do that. So I don't have that much space. But and again, like I said, when I'm going to tell the story, it's on the diorama table. So I don't save my shelves for that. My storytelling goes on the diorama table. But I will say this. I'm currently building diorama shelves for JMK Customs. And I'm starting to like how they're looking. So I might make them for myself as well. So he basically has a 15-inch deep shelf by 13 inches high. And I'm building him a little back alley on one and then a factory in another. And the way they're coming out, I'm like, fuck, I might buy these shelves and do the same thing for me because I'm really digging. And just seeing your guys just now, all your shelves where you have like a story you're telling on the shelf, I'm kind of digging that aspect. I never really thought of it like that, where you kind of just set up a small little shelf to tell the story. Or like I said, whenever I tell a story, I'm just like, I think way too big. And I'm like, a shelf ain't gonna contain this idea. So I have to take it to the dio table. That's usually where my problem is.
And
Everything that I try to make, I do. I mean, it's not even in this room. And anytime not that I do a lot of it, but I mean, it's on the dining room table. All that stuff's in that room.
Yeah.
And it's why I wanted, and Darren and I had talked about this a few days ago with Aaron, who unfortunately couldn't join us tonight with this one. But it was like, it's time we talked a little bit more about our shelf space because it's something every toy collector has to deal with. And I mean, either it's an expression of who you are, who you want to be, how you view your toys, how you're connected to them, or it's 1,000 other things. It's a problem. It's an annoyance. It's a spatial issue, right? So I think we've got some other guys that joined the chat recently. I've been kind of not ignoring the chat, but letting the stream go its direction. But I want to say hi to Gaslands Mechanic.
Nice.
And of course, Wraith Base and Mython the Python joined us, and I hope he's still around. And I hope you guys down in Florida are okay with the winds that have been picking up. We have been tracking that, you guys, and our thoughts are with you. And one thing I wanted to get back to, I'm just going to do one last round of questions before I call it a night on this one and thank everybody for their time. Yeah. But again, starting with our guest from furthest away. So Frostbite, dude, I kind of connect with you in the aspect that you are not a U.S. citizen, just like I am not a U.S. citizen. And here we are, we're talking about displays, and we have talked about other toys like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Marvel, etc. But mostly I like to talk about the GI Joe Classified and things like that. That's how we all met. How does it, when you were growing up, I know Canada, our GI Joes that came across the border, they had Canada on them. I was always wondering, did Australia ever get a batch of Joes with Australia instead of USA on them?
No, we just had the ones that were missing the real American hero. So they just had G.I. Joe.
Okay. And that's kind of one of the things I always kind of wondered. I was like, I know it was tough enough for Canadians to connect and ignore that aspect of this is a real American hero. I was kind of curious, did you ever have any insights or vibes about that whole, this is a real American hero and Australia loves it, or was it just dismissed?
No, didn't even think about it.
No? Okay. I appreciate you answering that. It was a quicker answer than I was, but
you guys got backstop. Come on.
What? Backstop was Australia.
I never saw Backstop and the Persuader. Never saw it.
No. See, I think one thing I think would be fun to do, and I'd love to get Frostbite and either one of you guys back, everybody back on this one, is I think it's time that we I'm not going to say woke culture to share this, but we level the playing field with this GI Joe roster. And I take a page out of Dave Chappelle's book when they did the race draft. And I think it's time we did a nationality draft on Joe. Start picking out whose origins are actually Australian and whose are Canadians. Because I tell you, you're not keeping those divers and you're not keeping Snowjob.
Hey, just before, this is my last thing to say. I picked this up the other day, and this has been now, I think, officially the weirdest thing that I've added to my collection. Legends, you should love this. It cost me $2 Australian to about $1.60 or something American. And it's a part of my childhood, weirdly. But check this shit out.
Oh, wow. Vinyl.
Bro, you found it on vinyl.
Yeah, I found it at an op shop. And so that most of the op shops here are religious. And it sort of weirded me out a little bit because the two older ladies, and they would have been about 70. I took this up to the counter. I'm like, I feel weird saying this, but this is making me really excited. They both just laughed at me, and one of them said, yeah, I saw Cheech and Chong here in Canberra in the 80s. And I'm like, oh, wow, you love this shit.
Oh, that's awesome. I am so glad you remembered to bring that up. So Tony, he kept you in mind for that. I know I have mine.
Very, very much appreciated. Cheech and Chong hold a very special place in my heart for obvious reasons.
This is the clearest we've ever seen Tony on camera, actually. It's usually hazier than.
Oh, yeah. Sorry to overrun that conversation. I just wanted to show that before we logged off.
That was awesome. That's awesome stuff.
That's great.
Yeah. So, yeah, guys. Frostbite, thank you so much for your insights from and for coming to the aid of a show needing an extra host tonight. You had no reason to go in with anything other than good faith, and I know it was down south.
I love talking to all you guys. Like it's just that commonality thing. Like we all like toys. Let's talk about toys.
Yeah. And I was glad you could make the time because it is a relevant time difference over there. So I'm glad it worked out that way. And Tony, thank you so much, man. You are the local YouTube culture in this tribe that we have. You are kind of that steady rock that's always there for the guys, and we see it, right? Either you're interviewing them, you're lighting them up and blazing them up in the chats, and then just the way you run yourself. As soon as you said yes tonight, I knew everything was going to be just awesome, and it was. And thanks very much.
My pleasure,
I'll start with Tony, and then I'll go back to Frostbite, and then I'll go to Darren. But what do you got coming up this week, Tony?
Well, this Friday, I'm going to be going live with Mython on Mython at midnight. He wants to introduce Meatwad to Estelle. So that's going to be a big voice thing that we're going to be doing. Very excited about that. So if you got nothing to do at midnight on Friday, hang out with me at Mython. Saturday night, my wife now has a live stream. It's called Into the Shadows, where we talk about cryptids, paranormal stuff. So if you're into weird ghost shit, please follow Crown Fox Productions. We do that every Saturday at 10:30.
Nice.
Last Saturday, we talked about gnomes and fairies and pixies, and then we went nuts. We started naming gnomes after cheese, so that was pretty funny. It just became, it just went crazy the whole chat. it was a good time. So, but yeah, Saturday, her live stream, it's like a very good time. Like I said, Crown Fox Productions, and then I'm back at it Sunday with the pre-roll. It's more of a crafting based now. I'm going to be making a lot more shit because I got to make a bunch of stuff. And so it's going to be a lot of that going forward, but we're still going to have a good time like we always do. So please just, if you haven't given a like and a subscribe to my channel, please do.
Yeah.
I have a channel membership now, has hours of content up on there now, whether I put comedy skits, short films. I do behind the scenes lighting. So if you want to learn lighting setups, I have that. And soon I'm going to be starting some editing tutorials and like After Effects tutorials. So if you're looking to kind of up your game there, that'll be on the members only as well. So
Right.
if you're considering it, please do.
Thanks for bringing us up on that. And you guys make sure, you're not only subscribed to Frostbite and to Legend series, but to Crown Fox Productions. And yeah, me and Darren, we know you're subscribed to us. That's why you're even here, right? But sorry, and I just before I hand everything over to Darren really quick, I did forget to ask you, Frostbite, do you have some stuff coming up this week that we should let these guys know about so they can watch for it?
Yeah, I was literally before Darren contacted me, I was about a third of the way through preparing another video. It's going to be Baroness related because we all like Baroness. And I'll be hopefully releasing it on American Friday night. So in like 48 hours, is that roughly it?
I don't know. I just like the fact that you had to call it an American Friday night.
It's because for me it's a Saturday morning. So if I say Saturday morning, it won't work out. So
I think that's a Brad Paisley song.
I see why Star Trek's so complicated about their time travel episodes now. It's just it's a nightmare. American Friday night, the past Friday.
American Friday sounds like a teen TV show on CW.
2 full seasons. And so Down South 77, you brother, I know you've got stuff coming up this week, and I know guys need to know this because I know Aaron and I never pay much attention, but Down South 77 is actually the brains behind why we sometimes get away with a good episode. It's usually Darren's the one pushing us, going, guys, are we doing an episode? Who's got a thumbnail? What are we talking about? Somebody get motivated. So I appreciated you being so quick to reflex with the changes today. So what do you got going on, man?
Channel wise, really, I think all I've got doing a review on is I got Birdman here, got Chip Talon. Legends, doesn't that sound like a cheesy WWE or WWF?
100%.
Oh, yeah.
The Raptor, it's like IRS, Erwin R. Shyster. So
It's a little on the head, eh?
Yeah, a little bit. So I got to get him open, and I'm anxious to do that. Get a review up on Raptor, and I think I probably have a kind of quiet weekend as far as the tube goes. I'm planning on going down to the camper this weekend, or for Saturday and Saturday night, part of Sunday. Gonna try and get some pictures done. I want to take this guy and try to do some pictures. It'll probably be one of the last nights I go down to the camper. So I just kind of be lurking in the background mostly this weekend. Other than
before I forget, I want to say thank you to you, Darren, because you told me about the little fog machine, and I got it, and it was one of the best purchases that I have done so far. So thank you for that.
So you found the one I was talking about. Good.
Dude, it's awesome. It's a game changer. It's a game changer for photography.
Yes.
For real.
And that's good that you got it right now, right before Halloween, if you guys are doing anything like trick-or-treaters or whatever, because it's got a remote and it lays out some fog and does not use that much juice. It will fog a room and 5 seconds. So
totally.
I'm glad you got it, man.
Yeah,
good.
Totally worth the money. If anybody, like I said, if any photographers are out there thinking about it,
Wraith Mace in the comments.
Yeah.
He has the same one. He's
It's
got the
worth
same
every
machine.
penny, man. Seriously.
I just find it really weird that Tony, you of all people, need a fog machine in your place, man. I've been at the convention. It's not something I expected you to do.
Well, only because this fog it lingers, it stays, so it'll stay in place. Trust me, Crow, I've done it multiple times. You just take a couple of hits and you literally add your own atmosphere smoke. I've done it multiple times, but it doesn't stay like this fog machine. It blew my mind when the first time I filled this Mindbender lab with smoke and shit. It was crazy.
Yeah, it was
My
great.
education never stops here. It just never stops.
Yeah.
So that the comments you just pulled up there, I was going to mention it before we signed off. I did get to hang out with Mython for a little while on Saturday. Finally got to meet Mython in person, and all the stuff that everybody says about Mython is absolutely true. He's good, genuine, down to earth dude. Had a lot of fun hanging out with Mython, and I did get to hang out with his wife for a little bit. She was in her Jawa get up, her costume, and I didn't get to spend a lot of time hanging out with her, and I may have got him in trouble with her. I hope he said I didn't, but he and I were talking, and like they knew a lot of people there at that con, so she was just talking to people, and these guys are constantly being grabbed for pictures because they're in costume. She was a excellent Jawa, and Mython was an excellent Royal Guard. It was great costumes. He and I were talking, and we just looked around, and she was gone. He was like, "Oh, she probably went to talk to somebody." So he and I walked around, and we were looking at the booths and things for looking at the vendors and talking about some stuff we saw, and went to go back to it. And I had my GoPro. I was doing my video, and I wanted to get some video of he and his wife together, just like record something for the video and get to really show them together in their costumes moving. And we walked all around that place looking for her, and she was doing this, looking for us for like an hour. And when we finally found her and she come up to us, her words were, "I am done. I got to get out of this," because she's in like 3 layers of costume.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, let's go ahead and do your thing. So I actually took up a lot of Mython's time because they have to walk around in their costume, and they're part of the group. So I do want to thank Mython for hanging out with me.
Oh yeah,
absolutely great dude. So if anybody gets the chance to spend some time with him, do it, because he is a really down to earth guy.
I will say this as a former cosplayer, I feel her pain, because when you walk around those things and all of that shit, all you keep saying to yourself is, "I'm done. Get me the hell out of here." I know that feeling all too well.
Yeah.
Well, when I first saw him, she was in costume, and Mython had not gone back up to change into his yet. I think he had it on earlier. So the entire time I was there, she was in her costume, and Mython actually went back up and put his on, and I caught up with him later. And I know he was hot in his, but she had hers on the entire time, and they went out front and did pictures. So I got a couple pictures and video in my video I did. It was like probably 80, 84, 85 that day. So outside. So anyway, just if anybody gets a chance, hang out with Mython, because he's a good dude.
Awesome.
And I think Frostbite and Tony would agree. Like any YouTube content creator of the last year, he's been paying attention, would agree. You'd be surprised at what can get that little jealous twinge in your backbone every now and then. And it's when you watch 2 dudes that you'd get along with go out and have the time of their lives, and you're
Yeah.
thousands of miles away. Does anybody disagree with that?
I felt
That's-
that way during Joe Fest with you guys, watching all you
Well,
guys.
when you and Woody hung out, that's
Yeah.
kind of, I was like, damn, I wish I was there hanging out with them guys. I'd probably need to drive them, but
And Frostbite, don't think for a second I wouldn't love to just hop on a plane and just say I went to go visit YouTubers in Australia.
Mate,
yeah.
the best thing I can do is to make good enough content that I make Americans jealous that can't be here to hang out with us.
Well, you're doing that
Nice.
successfully.
yeah,
Yeah.
nice.
Hey, so I'm gonna wrap things up tonight, just shy of 2 hours. But before I do, I just want to give one quick reminder about something coming up that does kind of involve all of us, in more or less, and it's about toys. And I am, of course, talking about the Toys for Tots streamathon that is going to be run by A Punk with Toys in cooperation with Sergeant Reds. Please pay attention when we get to October 25th from 12 p.m. till 12 a.m. on October 27th. Lawrence is going to be doing the hard knocks work, keeping his stream going, and he's calling in guys to come help him. I know there's a long list. We've got guys like myself and Aaron and Darren in the Backyard Battlefield. I am
There's
seeing,
Frostbite.
I'm just reading it off
Yep.
here. Shark Eyes, Trick Shot, Ozzy's, Frostbite, you're in there. Legend Series, you in there on that yet?
I told Punk a few times already that I'm whatever he needs, and I think he told me at some point he's going to send me an invite because he said it's kind of going to be like more like the clubhouse and stuff like that. So,
Yeah, and
so at
that,
some point,
that's our understanding. This is going to be nonstop. Keep going and donate what you can. Toys for Tots. It's a great. I can't think of a better charity for a group like us to be working. So again, that's going to be 12 p.m. October 25th through 12 a.m. to the October 27th. Anything you guys can give as far as money, time, or just attention, please do so.
And also noting Sergeant Reds stated in his video that he will match any donations.
Thank you. That was
Yeah.
the big one.
oh
yeah.
yeah,
Right.
Mm.
So, so I know Punk's been doing everything he can to try and promote this, and we're getting close to that date. So thanks very much, guys, for sticking around this long. Thank you ahead of time for tuning into that streamathon and supporting that good cause. Okay, guys, this is it. We've reached the end. We survived this ad hoc episode of the Backyard Battlefield. Thanks again to our guests, Frostbite
Absolutely.
and Legend Series. And guys, I'm going to see you guys in the backstage. Guys in the chat, thank you very much. All right. And Darren, tell these guys goodbye.
We will see you guys next time on the Backyard Battlefield.
AJ's. All right.